All right, today we're talking about getting started in USPSA and overcoming some of the hurdles some people see in just going and looking at a match. I'm very new at this. I'm about 4 months in, so I know that practicing and thinking, oh, someday I'll shoot a competition, maybe. I'll practicing. I like shooting anyway, so I'll just keep practicing for it. And then never actually going and doing it for months and months and months. And then finally going and doing it, which I did, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it was a lot harder and a lot different in many more ways than I thought it would be, and how I would be way farther ahead if I had just gone and shot one when I first started and was interested in it a year and a half ago. So a lot of the people in shooting love to buy gear for performance, and that's not needed. It's like the old saying goes, it's the Indian, not the arrow. So you can get started in USPSA or pretty much any shooting competition. I'm mainly talking about USPSA, PCSL, somewhat IDPA. I've never shot IDPA. I've never looked at the rules. They're different than USPSA. It's a little bit more, not really gamer, but kind of. Like there's a lot more rules dictating what you have to do and where, like you have to conceal a gun, that kind of stuff. If that's your thing, go for it. All right, so all you need to get started. This was my first gun that I got. This is a Taurus PT11 that I got, and this is clear. I have a 15 rounder in here so that I can fit my hands on it. But honestly, if you had something like this, and this is a cheap holster, do that. A couple mags, load out of your pocket. That is really all you need. Like, you could shoot a match with this and you'll do almost as good as somebody running a competition rig. Not near as good, but like you'll kind of get a better idea. I would say if you have something like this, don't go buy a holster, don't go buy a specific gun for it. Go shoot it with something like this. Another option a lot of you gun guys probably have is a carry gun, something similar to setup like this. This is my carry 17 with an X300 in a TRX holster. So if you have something like this, you can run it from concealment. You can pocket load your magazines and shoot a match perfectly fine with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. All you really need is like 3, maybe 4 mags, enough to hold between 25 and 30, maybe 40 rounds in magazines. 40's on the high side. You're not going to have stages at locals generally higher than about 30, maybe 32, if you have really good stages. So if you can hold 40-ish rounds in mags, you're good. So that's what, 3 Glock mags, 2 Glock mags, 3 Glock mags at the most, and you just load them out of your pocket. That's all you really need to do. However, if you shoot a match, if you shot one match, maybe 2 matches, and you want to get something a little bit better, I'm going to put a link down in the description for a built-out kit rig that the Ben Stoeger Pro Shop sells that I think is a pretty good value, other than like the Black Scorpion stuff that I mentioned in my last video about belts. I'll put a link to that down in the description. It's just a basic kit. It's about 150 bucks. From what I can see on it, reviews and stuff on it, it looks pretty good. I don't have any personal experience with this, but I believe it would be a good setup and better than the Black Scorpion rigs that I started with. So that's kind of the basics on gear. You don't need much. Like, it's you. Just go do it. See if you like it. Don't spend money on the gear. Just go do it. So now let's talk about you. What do you need to do before you can go to a match to be able to safely complete the match without DQing? And I would say for your first match, that should be your goal. Just don't DQ. Don't break 180. Don't start to make ready until you're told so, are the 2 biggest areas people, and keep your finger off the trigger, is probably the 3 most areas people mess up and get DQ'd. So some skills you should have is drawing your firearm, which if you own a firearm, you should be able to do that. Draw it from a firearm safely. At speed, I mean, speed's relative, of course. Be able to draw it from concealment or whatever holster you have. Be able to reload and be able to move with your gun. And this is one that a lot of people I don't think can do. If you have an indoor range that you normally shoot at, you stand at a bench, you might be able to do some holster work. You might just be picking it off the bench there in the indoor range. What you're used to shooting is like static, not moving. And when you get to a match and you go to move, it feels very uncomfortable and you're gonna just kind of walk through the stages, which is totally what I did. And I'll probably put some footage up on the side here of my first couple matches, which I didn't really record much of them. I really wish I would have, but they were terrible anyway. I was basically just kind of slow shuffling through the stages, kind of almost at a grandpa walk, just trying to figure out and stumble along and find targets. So that will probably be your pace for the first couple matches. So that'll take a little bit of getting used to, is moving with purpose and getting there. But you'll get that. Just go shoot one. If you can draw, reload, maybe get used to walking around a little bit if you can. And of course, always practice finger outside the trigger guard when you're drawing, reloading, all of that stuff. It's good. And of course, 180 awareness is always good too. So finding matches is decently simple. So I'll put a link down in the description for the Practice Score website, which is the website that all USPSA, or mostly all USPSA matches, are listed on. Their search is a little bit annoying, but search the website for matches, find a match, sign up on there. Some of them are pay with cash at the match, some of them pay online, some of them are both. But just keep in mind, if it needs cash, you're gonna have to bring cash to it. It's usually about $20 to $25, no more than that. Some of them are $30 if they're a more expensive match, like it's a bit longer, nicer stages, nicer equipment, that kind of stuff. Now let's say you got hooked. You've shot 2 or 3 matches, you're completely into this, you're ordering a bunch of gear, what people around you are shooting, you got a nice tricked out gun, whatever you like to shoot, and you're discovering this can be a giant money pit really fast. So keep in mind when buying equipment, schedule out your equipment in advance. Don't just schedule out your equipment in advance. Don't just buy a bunch of it. Make sure you're keeping enough for ammo. For ammo, I try to shoot between 300 to 500 rounds a week, depending on how many matches I'm shooting in practice. I'll shoot 300 to 500. Dry fire, even 2 times a week is enough. 2 times a week, like 5-10 minutes. If you can't do that, you probably should find another sport. But that, a couple times a week, if you want to shoot 1 to 2 matches a month, is what a lot of people do. I'm on shooting a lot more than that. I'm trying to shoot at least 1 a week, sometimes 2 to 3, and shooting 300 to 500 rounds. But if you could shoot 100 to 200 rounds in dry fire, consistently, like 2 to 3 times a week, that will be plenty for getting good quickly-ish. So kind of break down what the minimum participation cost would be. It would be, let's say you shoot 100 rounds a week in practice, or let's say you go every 2 weeks and shoot 200 rounds. That would be about 400 rounds in practice of 9mm. And if you shoot a match a month, that's about another 150. So you're at about 550, 600 maybe, give or take a couple. And with 9mm where it's at, that's about $150 a month in ammo. That's probably doable for a lot of people, but I figured I'd just break that down in case you're expecting to be able to shoot like 20 to 30 bucks of ammo. Some people are used to shooting about a box or 2 a month, and this is going to take a little bit more than that. $150 a week is cut back on some buying your coffee at a gas station, or buying some energy drinks at a gas station and buy them online in bulk or something like that. Just cut back just a little to be able to spend that much. And then your match fee is going to be, like I said earlier, about $20 to $25. If you shoot 1 match a month, that's another $20, so that's about $170 a month. So this can be cheap-ish. It's not the most expensive hobby, but you can, of course, spend 20 to 30 grand a year on it. You can also spend $200 a month if you run something like your carry gun, if that's a 17 or a 19, and just run that. So just go shoot a match. Get a feel for it. You'll kind of know a lot better what you want after you do it. Talk to people around your local area. Try to get a feel for what the better matches are to go to. If there's one you have to drive a little bit further to if you want to only make 1 a month. For me, my local one, that's about 30 to 35 minutes away, is a really good match. They have really large bays that are really nice field courses that's fun to shoot. You might have to drive a little bit further to get one that's like that, but that's a lot more fun to shoot. And of course, the people are really fun to hang out with at matches too. I've had good squads mostly. Every now and then you have 1 or 2 bad ones, but so far they've been really epic people to hang out with. And you'll kind of get a feel for the culture in your area around the USPSA as you shoot a couple. That's why I say if you end up spending $1,000 or $2,000 on gear and a nice gun, and you end up going to a couple matches in your local area, and everybody in your local area is a grouchy person that doesn't like new people, well, you're kind of out of luck then. You're gonna have to drive a ways, or just you won't want to shoot anymore. So that's why I recommend just take your carry gun, take whatever ranged gun you have that's decently reliable, have a holster for, maybe a mag pouch if you just want to run mag pouches on your waist, pocket load if you don't have mag pouches. But just go shoot one. If you like it, buy the equipment. If you don't, then you're not weighing it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Go shoot, and don't shoot yourself in the foot. That's always a positive.